In a lively African village where roosters believed they were alarm clocks, and goats believed they owned every garden, lived a young man named Mawe. Mawe was tall. Mawe was healthy. Mawe had 2 perfectly good arms and 2 very capable legs. But unfortunately, Mawe used them mostly for sleeping, stretching, and running away from work. If laziness were a profession, Mawe would have been the village chairman. Every morning before sunrise, the village woke up like a drumbeat. Farmers carried hoes to their fields. Women balanced baskets on their heads. Builders gathered at the construction site near the trading center. But Mawe woke up around mid-morning, scratched his head, yawned like a crocodile, and looked for the nearest shade. Most days he parked himself under the big mango tree, which had sadly become the official headquarters of his laziness. The problem was not just that Mawe was lazy, he was also extremely weak. One afternoon he tried to lift a small sack of maize. The sack did not move. Instead, Mawe moved backwards. The sack won. Another time he tried to chase a chicken for lunch. The chicken ran. Mawe ran. 3 minutes later, Mawe was breathing like a broken bicycle pump, while the chicken calmly watched him from a fence. Even the village children laughed. Mawe cannot even fight a chicken. Mawe hated being weak, but he hated working even more. Near the trading center, a group of construction workers gathered every morning before starting work. These men built houses, dug foundations, and carried stones so heavy they looked like sleeping hippos. Before work, they would visit Uncle Juma, Mawe's uncle. Uncle Juma sold the famous enriched strength porridge. The pot was huge. The steam rose like morning mist. The smell alone could wake a sleeping cow. The builders lined up with metal cups. Uji! They cheered and gulped down their porridge. Within minutes, their energy returned. One builder flexed his arms and laughed. Now I can carry the whole building myself. Another builder looked at Mawe sitting nearby and said, "Hey Ma, come work with us today. We will buy you porridge." Mawe stretched lazily. Maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow never came. One morning, a group of farmers passed Mawe under the mango tree. They were sweating, strong, and cheerful. One of them said, "Mawe, come help us harvest cassava today. We will give you a big bowl of Uncle Juma's porridge." Another farmer laughed. "You might even grow muscles." Mawe looked at their muddy boots. The sun looked hot. The work looked terrible. He waved them away. "Go ahead. I will supervise from here." The farmers shook their heads. "Supervise what? The ants?" They left laughing. Mawe crossed his arms. But deep inside, he felt embarrassed. That evening, Mawe watched Uncle Juma prepare the porridge. It was no ordinary drink. Into the pot went ground millet, roasted groundnuts, baobab powder, honey, wild herbs from the hills, a mysterious root that Uncle Juma never explained. The mixture bubbled slowly. The smell filled the entire village. It was said the porridge did something magical. But there was a rule. Only those who worked hard deserved it. The elders believed something strange happened when lazy people tried to cheat it. But Mawe ignored those cultural trending stories. One day, Mawe tried lifting a bucket of water. His arms trembled like tree branches in a storm. A small girl passing by asked innocently, "Ma, are your arms made of spaghetti?" The children burst into laughter. Mawe was humiliated. That night he stared at his skinny arms and whispered, "I must drink that porridge, but I will not work for it." A dangerous idea entered his head. Mawe began spying on Uncle Juma. He observed everything. When the porridge was cooked, when customers left, when Uncle Juma went to sleep, he planned carefully, very carefully, because Ma believed something important. Stealing porridge is easier than farming. The village slept. The moon shone. Crickets sang. Mawe crept quietly toward Uncle Juma's kitchen. But the night did not cooperate. First, a dog barked. Then a goat followed him. Then he stepped on a metal pan. Mawe froze. The goat stared at him suspiciously. "Please," Ma whispered, "mind your goat business." Finally, he reached the kitchen. Inside, the legendary pot of porridge. Still warm, still powerful, still smelling like strength itself. Mawe poured a huge bowl. The steam kissed his face. He smiled. Tomorrow, he imagined, he would lift stones. He would impress the builders. He would run faster than the chicken. The whole village would admire him. He lifted the bowl. Goodbye, weakness. And drank. For 2 seconds, he smiled. Then, his tongue exploded in heat. Ah! The porridge was boiling hot. His mouth burned. His throat burned. His chest burned. He jumped like a frog on fire. Then the bowl spilled all over his chest and arms. The burns were brutal. He screamed so loudly that a rooster started crowing even though it was midnight. Suddenly lanterns appeared. The builders, the farmers, and Uncle Juma. They had heard the screaming. Everyone stared at the scene. Ma on the ground. Porridge everywhere. Smoke rising from his shirt. One builder scratched his head. Ah, so this is your new exercise routine? Another laughed. Training with hot porridge. Uncle Juma shook his head slowly. Ma healed slowly. Very slowly. For many weeks he could not lift anything heavier than a cooking spoon. The burns on his arms and chest stung whenever the wind blew, and whenever he tried to stretch, his skin reminded him very clearly that hot porridge had a terrible memory. The village women brought herbs. The elders gave advice. One old man suggested rubbing goat fat on the wounds. Another said, No, goat fat is for cooking, not for lazy boys. Everyone had an opinion, but the scars remained. Long, dark marks stretched across Mawe's chest and arms like crooked maps of bad decisions. And every time someone asked what had happened, Mawe did something very unusual for a man who had once been lazy. He told the truth. I tried to steal strength instead of earning it. The builders would laugh. The farmers would shake their heads. But something inside Mawe had changed. The shame had burned away more than his skin. It had burned away his laziness. One morning, the construction workers passed by again, on their way to the building site. They saw Mawe sitting under the mango tree. But this time, he wasn't sleeping. He was staring at his scarred arms thoughtfully. One of the builders shouted, Ma, are you supervising the ants again today? The others laughed. But Mawe stood up. Wait for me, he said. The builders froze. One whispered, Did he just say, work? Another said, Quick, someone check if the sun rose in the west today. Ma walked with them to the construction site. His first task was simple, carry bricks. Very simple. Except after the first 10 bricks, his arms began shaking like a bicycle on a rocky road. After 20 bricks, he was breathing like a tired donkey. After 30 bricks, he sat down and stared at the sky. But he didn't quit. The builders watched with surprise. By midday, he was exhausted. But that evening, for the first time in his life, Mawe bought his own bowl of porridge. He held it carefully and blew on it 3 times before drinking. The builders laughed. Still afraid of the porridge? Ma nodded seriously. You should be afraid too. Soon the farmers invited him again. Come help us in the fields tomorrow. This time Mawe did not hesitate. Yes, the work was brutal. Digging, planting, carrying water. Chasing stubborn goats that believed cassava leaves were a personal invitation. The sun burned his back. His hands formed blisters. But slowly something incredible happened. Mawe's body began to change. His shoulders grew wider. His arms hardened. The same men who once laughed at him began asking him to help lift heavy sacks. One farmer said proudly, Look at Mawe now. The porridge did not make him strong. The work did. Months later, Uncle Juma called Mawe to the kitchen hut. The big pot of enriched porridge was bubbling. The smell filled the air. Uncle Juma poured a bowl and handed it to him. Mawe stared at it cautiously. Is it hot? He asked nervously. Uncle Juma smiled. No. Then he added with a small chuckle, But the work you did to earn it was. Mawe laughed. This time when he drank the porridge, it tasted different. Not like stolen power, but like earned strength. Years passed. Mawe never returned to the mango tree headquarters of laziness. Instead, he saved every coin he earned from construction work and farming. Slowly, he bought a small piece of land at the edge of the village. People were shocked. Ma? Buying land? But Ma worked that land like a man chasing a second chance. He planted maize, beans, cassava, groundnuts. Season after season, his harvest grew bigger. Soon, the small farm became a large farm. Then Mawe built something even more surprising. His own house. Not a small hut. A strong house with iron sheets and wide walls that even goats respected. The same builders who once laughed at him now helped build it. One of them said, while laying bricks, If laziness had a funeral, Ma buried it. As the farm grew, Mawe hired workers. Young men, strong men, even some lazy boys who reminded him of his younger self. On the first day of work, he gathered them under a tree. Then he removed his shirt. The workers stared at the scars across his chest. One young man asked quietly, "What happened to you?" Mawe smiled. "This is what happens when you try to steal strength instead of earning it." The men listened carefully. Mawe continued, "Work hard, be patient. Sweat is cheaper than regret." He pointed to his scars. "These are reminders. Unwanted lessons are the most painful teachers." From that day forward, Mawe became known not only as a strong farmer, but as a wise one. Whenever travelers passed through the village, they often heard the story. The lazy boy who tried to steal strength, the burns that changed his life, the scars that built a farm. And sometimes, in the evening, Mawe still drank a bowl of enriched porridge with Uncle Juma. But before drinking it, he always blew on it carefully, just in case. And the workers would laugh. But Ma would smile and say, "Trust me. Some lessons should never be repeated." Years later, Mawe became one of the strongest men in the village. But the scars remained. Whenever lazy boys refused to work, the elders pointed at his chest. And Ma would say with a laugh, "Strength stolen in the night will burn you in the morning."